Hey there YouTube. So today I am actually on my little drive. I decided to take a little drive to kind of chill. I've been having a lot of stuff going on with work and school and stuff like that, so I'm just doing this to get away. I'm currently climbing the mountain up to Pahrump right now, and I want to go ahead and talk with you guys about whether or not this 6-speed transmission is a good pair with this car. As you can see, I'm resting at about 3,000 RPMs at around 60 miles an hour. I am currently in 4th gear climbing the hill, and so I want to talk about the benefits and the actual drawbacks of this transmission that ultimately allow it to pair well with this car. Overall, I guess you could say. So I'm going to talk about first the drawbacks and then we'll talk about the benefits. The first drawback, as you noticed, is it's holding the lower gears actually pretty readily. And the thing is that, you know, this is only a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine. So basically, when you're going up hills, the car needs more power consistently, since the torque is always going to be at the higher end of the spectrum. Unless if you have a boxer engine, then it's a little bit different. But as you can see, now I have just climbed the hill completely and it's now shifting up into the higher gears. So the first drawback is that it will keep the lower gears as a safety measure to get you up the hill. What does this mean? Basically, your engine's going to run higher and you're going to lose fuel economy. I was actually at 37 miles per gallon until I started climbing that hill, and I went down to 27. So basically, although it's a good feature to have in the car, it does kill your gas mileage a little bit. However, it is a necessary component because if you did try to climb this hill in a taller gear, for one, you're not going to have as much power, and two, you actually are going to overheat the engine. As you increase the RPMs, the water pump will start pumping faster, and you will also have the fans turning on, which will ultimately help you keep the engine cool. So it's a good feature to have in this car because honestly, these engines are not powerful. They're just basically made to actually, you know, get you to point A to point B. And so it's a good feature. However, it's a cost because it will hit your gas mileage a little hard. Whoopsie daisies, I probably should stay on my side of the road. So the next drawback of the transmission is the fact that it doesn't shift quickly. Now, it's not a dual clutch by any means. If you wanted a dual clutch transmission, you could get a newer Elantra Sport model. However, this one does not shift very quickly. It actually still shifts pretty slushly like the older ones, but it does well because it's not horrible like the old 4-speeds were. Like, it didn't drag the gears out. It still, you know, shifts lazily, but it's not horrible, if that makes sense. The next thing on my list is the transmission in eco mode will sometimes pick too high of a gear. Now, I know I'm saying too low, too high, but coming off of a turn, your car should usually be stuck in around 3rd or 2nd gear, depending on if it's left or right. This car will actually try to remain in 5th gear and will have to noticeably downshift if you hit the gas hard enough. And so it's a good measure because eco mode will try to keep it in its taller gears to reduce the power and also reduce the fuel consumption. But there's our problem again. We're going to have to downshift and basically utilize more fuel than if it were to just be in like 3rd or 2nd gear in the first place. You could come off the turn and gently accelerate the car. So the benefits of this transmission are actually outweigh more the cost. The benefits of having 6 gears is obviously with what you just saw. I was able to go up that hill at around 3,000 RPMs. If I was with my Honda with only 4 gears, my Honda would have been at around 4,000 RPM. So basically, it's a good feature that, you know, the more gears you add, the better your performance. But as you can see now, as I'm going downhill, the RPMs are starting to ride a lot lower, and I'm also going to increase my gas mileage because the gears are now resting at almost 2,000 at 70 versus at almost 3 with the 4-speed automatic. So the older Hyundais, they definitely had higher RPMs, hence why you were unable to really get good gas mileage on the highway. However, this car can easily get 40 miles per gallon if you drive it right. So ultimately pairs well with the 6-speed because it definitely allows the RPMs to be lower and increase the efficiency of this little 4-cylinder engine. The next thing is the actual performance. Now, as you guys all know, the accents in the Elantras with the 4-speeds were slow as dirt. Now, this car is still no different, it's still slow. However, the performance has actually improved significantly over the previous models. The car itself will come off the line pretty quickly because 1st and 2nd gear are really close together. Most manufacturers, what they do is they actually put 2nd and 3rd closer together to get over that threshold of 60 miles an hour. However, this one will actually put 1st and 2nd closer. That way your off-the-line acceleration is a lot better. So it's nice to know that Hyundai did that because overall, it does increase the performance of this car significantly. Now, the other thing about it is that this transmission, it just feels smooth. Now, despite the fact that it's got slow and lazy shifts, the smoothness of it is actually phenomenal, because the older Hondas, the older Toyotas, even some of the newer cars, especially the Acuras, they're very bumpy when they shift gears. This one is actually pretty confident in what gear it wants to be in, so it operates very smoothly and it doesn't gear hunt. That's the other thing I like about it, is that it could gear hunt if it wanted to, like the Chevrolet Impala, like most other cars. However, this one doesn't, and it does a really good job in the fact that it keeps the gears from hunting, and it also keeps the gears matched with the speed, so you're not exactly looking for the correct gear. So when you're on a highway, you definitely want to use Eco. Do I recommend using Eco in the city? Sure, because it does reduce the engine throttle response, so it definitely will keep your RPMs lower, and it will cause the transmission to shift faster. However, again, there is a drawback, because you will end up having your gears, your car will be in too high of a gear, so it will definitely have to downshift. So that's about it, you guys, but if you guys have any questions, by all means let me know. I will go ahead and have this uploaded for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will catch you soon. Have a good one.